Hello everybody, welcome back to SnowRunner, my hard mode playthrough. We're back in Lake Cobd. Last episode was a special expedition off to the Don region where we recovered the Tatra Phoenix, which is currently sat just outside the garage. Bit of a slog recovering this, a very difficult mission for me. Things just didn't go well, but we've got the truck and that's what matters. And I haven't quite finished editing the episode at the point of recording this because I need to record this in a time frame that works for when I can get it rendered and ready to edit. So I hope that I managed to make that episode look somewhat entertaining, but it was quite frustrating to drive, to be fair. So yeah, Tatra Phoenix is now on our map and ready to go. Now, I did say in the special expedition that the Tatra Phoenix was half of the equation of what I wanted to do to basically up our game and get serious about Lake Cobd. But getting the Tatra Phoenix ended up costing me close to 60,000. So it's made a big old dent in my wallet and I am going to sell some trucks. Now, the Lodestar isn't one of them, but it is in the garage. And for now, just to keep it out the way, I'm going to retain it in this garage. I'm not selling it yet. I don't regret buying it, but if I hadn't have bought it already, I would have probably bought the new Land Rover Defender 90 and not got the Lodestar and tried out the Land Rover. And I'm not going to do that right now because that's a bit of an indulgence. So I'm not selling this one right now, but I am going to sell my second Tatra. So my main Tatra is on the Lake Cobd map. This second Tatra featured quite heavily, and to be fair, was the only reason I managed to successfully get the Tatra recovered. Without it, I wouldn't have achieved it, but I have got another Tatra, so I am going to sell this one, and it'll give me the money I need to buy the other truck that I want. So I'm selling a Tatra. I've still got one. I don't need two. The only reason I have a second one is for expeditions, but I need the money more. So we're selling. Dun, dun, dun. Gone. I'm not selling the civilian. I've taken the spare parts add-on off to remind myself that it's empty. So if I want to use it for spare parts, I'll have to take it somewhere to resupply it. So that's just a reminder, but I'm not selling it. I feel like throwing this thing in a skip because I had a really bad time with this truck, but I was warned that, and I'm not going to repair it now, but power to weight, look at it, it's terrible. I was warned that Ford without the big engine would be junk, but I'm going to keep it until I've got the big engine and then make a decision on it. I am selling the Step 310E. I've never done anything with this, recovered this in Tamir, never done anything at all with it, never even tried using it, and it may be a bit unfair to sell it. I don't think it's regrettable because I've got other trucks that do the same kind of things just as well, if not better. I don't see a need for it in my fleet. I've got quite a few off-road vehicles in my fleet, so I see this as a no regret sale, and it cleans up my stable a bit. I'm keeping the Chevy. I was told in comments if you put the small engine in it, it's a good cheap Scout. So I'm keeping it for now because I've got no reason to sell it. I'm keeping the Pacific for sentimental purposes because I like it. A little bit similar to the White Western Star. I don't really have a reason to keep it. I don't believe I will use it again, but I'm going to keep it because it did us proud in Michigan, and just in case it's useful. Maybe this is a truck that would have been better than using the Ford for that Tatra recovery. I'm keeping it for now. I'm going to sell this Hummer, and all of the vehicles I'm selling, by the way, I've been through and stripped out any important add-ons that could be reused by another vehicle. For example, the autonomous winches, that kind of thing I've removed from this so that I can put it in a different Scout. Where did we get to? I am going to sell... I don't need to, I've got enough money now, but I want to... Okay, maybe I'll stop there. I was going to say, I'm going to sell the ANK38, the non-civilian version, because it can't have a crane on it. And again, it's an off-roader. It's a good vehicle, but I've got better off-roaders or good off-roaders. So I don't need this one, considering it can't take a crane. Definitely keeping the Forester, definitely keeping the Paystar. Although that fuel bunker is empty, so I should probably unequip it for the same reason. I'm keeping both the Dan and the Longhorn because I haven't decided if one of them is good enough to replace the other, so I'll keep them both. And I'm keeping the twin steer because it's unique, and fairly soon I hope to get the engageable all-wheel drive, and then I'll take it out and give it a spin and try it on stuff and see how I do with it. I've never really done much with it, but I'm going to keep it because I'm sure it's got a niche function, and I like unique vehicles, and this is the only 4-slot rigid in the game, so I'm keeping it. But now we're up to $212,000, which will do what I want to do next. What I want to do next is buy a second vehicle. Now I've considered the 64. I used this in my campaign mode because you can get it very early in the game. It's a very, very good truck, but if anything, it made the game a little bit too easy mode for me. I considered it, and I would maybe still consider it at some point, but it's not the one I'm going to get. I've got the Tatra Phoenix, which is a 8x8 kind of similar configuration. It's different, slight differences, but still a similar configuration. The one I'm going to get, let's just cut to the chase in the off-road category, is the Voron Grad. So I'm going to have a Voron Grad plus the Tatra Phoenix as my two main workhorses, hopefully, to finish Kola Peninsula. So I'm now going to purchase a Voron Grad and deploy it here. Then we'll go through and customize it. So I haven't got the biggest engine that's available in Amur. I am going to pay $11,000 for the biggest of the engine options for it that I can currently manage. Puts it to an S plus with a B minus fuel rating and a fairly large fuel tank. I hope that's good. I hope that was the right idea. I'm going to put the off-road gearbox in it. I've watched Mr. Lone Wolf's review of this vehicle, and obviously he likes the high range gearboxes, but he also said that in this vehicle the off-road makes quite a lot of sense. So I'm putting the off-road in it. I've recovered the raised suspension for it already, so we'll install that. And sell. Yeah, so the stock is only available for this current truck, and I can't imagine ever needing to put stock back on it. And therefore, tyres. I have a bit of a question here. Would I use muds for this map or chains? And I think I'm going to use chains. I've got a set of muds in stock, so I could put them on for free. I might prefer this model of muds, but I think I'm going to use chains and see how I do. I've had comments basically saying you don't need chains on every vehicle on snow maps. You only need chains on some of your vehicles, and that muds are then better for moving through snow. And there's a logic there, and I agree with that logic. But this is lake calved, and you're driving around on an icy lake quite a lot. So I'm going to start with chains. It's quite an expensive purchase now. I haven't got any spare advanced mediums. I went through all of my medium trucks, and all of the advanced mediums that I've previously bought are in use. So, advanced medium. And I may as well sell a couple of those stocks. I'll keep one just in case I want to switch out the advanced medium between two vehicles, but yeah, I don't need to do that. Engageable already. I'm going to put a spare wheel on it. I'm going to put the best wading snorkel. And then I'm going to put a sideboard bed and a loading crane. And that will mean, and I've got to buy a loading crane because my others are in use, so I could probably take the one off the Tega and leave the Tega as a low saddle without a loading crane, but no, I'll leave that. So I'll buy a loading crane. And this will mean this can't tow trailers, but it can tow the Tatra, or the Tatra can tow it, and between the two of them, running around this map with two vehicles has been a good experience from me trying it, and also is being recommended by people in comments. So I'm going to run that configuration for a while. Any extras I need to think about? Going to buy fog lights, aren't I? Always going to buy fog lights. Let's get the best. I quite like that one actually. Let's have a What's the stock? No, I don't want that. It's either that one. That one's no good because that's way lower. That one or that one. And that one has better clearance. So I'm going to get that one. Sell the stock. Only for the current truck anyway. Don't care about visors and horns. Stock exhaust is out the bottom. I prefer the exhaust out the bottom. It's less in your face then. Let's have some wheel nuts on this one. Change the rims. Color scheme. What's the DLC one like? Yeah, that's okay. Not too bad. I quite like the default colors on it. Yeah, I'll just leave that. I quite like the default colors. And then before I take it out of the garage, I am going to jump real quick back into the Phoenix. Put the Phoenix back in the garage because I want to buy a advanced medium winch for it. I've done all the other customizations, so it's got chains, it's got the same bigger engine, off-road gearbox. So both of these vehicles are switchable, all-wheel drive and diff locks. Same. I've got the chains. They're 46 instead of 50s. So the Grad is slightly bigger wheels. By that, I'm back down now to less than 60 grand. So I've got to be a bit careful now on money, which is why I'm not buying a Land Rover as much as I want to buy a Land Rover. I'm not buying a Land Rover. Got a spare wheel. Got the high snorkel. Got the Tatra default sideboard bed. This one has a lot less options. But if they go around together, the Grad can do any loading requirements, and effectively this is like a powered trailer. And I know that's a bit fuel inefficient, but at the same time, getting there faster and safer saves fuel is the logic, I think. And then the rest of it, I don't need to. I've been through all the rest of this. I'm happy, and I'm going to leave it in default Tatra colors. And that is my new power duo. Which I don't know which one will lead in terms of one is towing the other. I don't know which one will take priority. But leave garage. I can't buy this on my campaign mode save, so this is literally the first time I've been in a Voron Grad. I'm doing this based on reviews and reputation rather than because I've played it and tried it in my other save. Garage. And there we go. That is our new power couple. I hope. Get some stuff done on this map. So, let me just have a quick look at what I want to do. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to do this supplies delivery because I want to get into that corner of the map, and there's a few things we can do up there. And for now, I'm only going to take the Grad. We're just going to run across the map. First time I've driven the Grad. We're going to leave the Phoenix and Tega, and we're going to run across the map and get the 2 service spare parts and take up to supplies delivery and see how we like this truck. I've got fuel on this map. I might have to do a little bit of logistics to move it around a bit, but we'll see how this obviously I bought it so it starts its life with a full fuel tank, thankfully. Sounds nice. It's got a nice smooth feel to it. Down onto the ice road. and make our way around to the railway station. I'm hoping that this combination of these two trucks, in addition, obviously I've still got the Azov 73210, very capable vehicle, but with some chin challenges when the terrain gets a bit bumpy, shall we say. Try not to take too much damage coming across here. I know this is a bit lumpy, bumpy ice. Ease back the throttle a little bit. It's a nice looking vehicle. And I know there are other Vorons that possibly are as good. The biggest reason I chose this one over the other two is the fact that it is engageable all-wheel drive and engageable diff lock rather than always on. And I just wanted a couple of vehicles that make the driving a bit more engaging. This is doing really well considering that it's not in all-wheel drive. It'll hopefully be more fuel efficient because of it. So the first off-road bit in this one. Doing okay, but I'm going to stick it into all-wheel drive. Suddenly it bursts into life. Yeah, I like this. This feels good. It's an off-road, so it's not... both the Phoenix and this one are rated as off-road vehicles, not heavies. But they're fairly big off-road. I've not had to use the diff lock yet. Obviously not the most challenging terrain, but yeah, even so. Good first impressions. I like it. So 2 lots of service spare parts. Oops, brakes need a tune-up, mate. Let's load up 2 lots of service spare parts. And service spare parts are the only thing I can get here. Right, engine off. Make sure I know where I'm going to be going. So it's fairly simple. It's into the same camp that we've been in several times. So back out onto the lake. And there's no reason not to use the same route that we just used to come in. So here, down onto the lake. May as well come across this way. Around this side. That's all fairly solid ice, I believe. So safely through this ice to here, up into that camp for the first one. Yeah, that route works. Good work. It's got a nice engine noise. It's not a noisy truck. I do find that the Phoenix is a little bit of a noisy engine. Not in an unpleasant way, but it's a lot more noticeable when you're driving it than this. This feels and sounds a lot smoother. And I think it's going to be basically just as capable as the Azov 64K, I hope, but without the always-on sort of kind of feeling like easy mode. Let's not be rolling it over on big trucks though. My nerves after the special expedition need a little bit of a calmer episode, if you don't mind. So keeping an eye on this ice to make sure I'm not going out onto anything that's going to break under me. Looks okay. But I'm not running them together at the minute. Basically because I don't have enough cargo to carry. But when it's time to... what I've decided is I'm going to pretty much finish Lake Cobb. Because that's what would have happened when the game first came out. This map is the first and only map of this phase. And then Imandra was released later, if I'm correct. And it just makes sense because Imandra's got a garage that I'll finish this map and then go into Imandra in the same way that you guys would have done when you played this game as new. That's my plan and hope. And then I know that the Imandra garage requires a couple of steel metal beams, and I'll probably take those with these two trucks from here when I'm finished with the missions on this map, or at least the missions on this map that use these vehicles. This is why I wanted chains on, because I'd be drifting all over the place if I just had muds on this now. And maybe once we're in Imandra, if that's more of a snowy map, then in the garage in there I'll stick some mud tyres on. I'm happy. I'll be especially happy if that it comes back down on its wheels. That's exactly the sort of thing. That's almost a signature move. I say I'm happy and then my truck falls over. That could almost be the thing that defines my channel. Maybe it's just that's the thing that defines this game. That's part of the challenge that we all love about it, isn't it? It's quite a stable vehicle. From the Mr. Lone Wolf's review, one of the things that impressed me about this truck is how stable it appeared in his testing. Engine off. One of these delivered. Done. Hardly worth turning the engine off, really. I'm going to connect up to that trailer and just fix a little bit of damage that I've just done coming across that ice. Oh, of course I can. I can't connect it to it anyway. Fine. You see this? You see these spikes in front of me? Now, since the Phase 7 DLC and the update that went with the game with it, I am getting terrain glitches, and I'm sure that slightly glitchy terrain contributed to the trouble that I had on the Phoenix Recovery Special Expedition. That's not right, right? So right in the middle of there's that glitchy terrain. Anybody else seeing that on their game? Because I've done a full verification of my game files and I can't see anything that would cause that. So it's a bit disturbing. Interested if anybody else has seen it. Right, what's my route to get up to this place from here? I'm inclined to heed my own advice and use the ice and basically go around, but then what's the fun in that? There's no direct route. Maybe up here and over. I'm sure this truck could cope with it. And I'll probably do that in the reverse to get that Zix out on the recovery. I think I should follow my own advice. Back down here. come around the ice. And come in from this side, rather than trying to mess with rubbish terrain. But yeah, a bit worried about those glitchy terrain that I'm seeing. And it is literally, it's only started since Phase 7 was released for me. So I would be interested in if anybody else has seen anything similar on their game. The same thing is happening in my campaign mode save. You missed the turning there. So it's not a save specific thing. It's not a map specific thing. I get it on mud maps. I get it on any save, any map, and I get that funny little, almost like a seam in the terrain. And occasionally I'll drop a wheel into it and can't move. And at least one of the bits that happened in the Don region, I think that's why one of my trucks got stuck. But yeah, let me know if anybody else has seen that. Because if not, I might be in a almost in a PC reformat situation, because all of my game drivers, all of my game install files, my graphics drivers, everything is up to date, everything is fine. But unless I've had a graphics driver that's installed a glitch and then my graphics driver might get patched, I don't know what else it could be. Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it? Isn't that nice? Yeah, indulge me a moment. I want that as a screenshot. If I can make it, if I can make the truck not look too dark. Right. Get my route back in. Posing for screenshots when I should be driving. What am I like? Right. Let's get it spun around and back on track. Not been around this corner before, so let's just, it's nice that it's daylight, let's be a bit cautious, make sure this ice is as good as it looks. Ice was cracking a little bit underneath me then, could hear it. I don't think there's a way up around there, because that's just water gap. Yeah, so there's no way up through that side. So it is this trail now. Feels all right. Not a wash for fuel, but we got enough, I hope. I'll whack this into low and get the dip lock on for this snow ascent. Right, so this looks like a icy ascent, and if you didn't have snow chains, this might have been a bit challenging. I think, maybe? It's not much of a road, is it? still. Don't need the diff lock for it. Let's get some speed up. Easy stuff. Right. So this is a new spot. We've never been up here before. Good stuff. That's pretty, isn't it? Handbrake on, engine off. This will complete this task. Much needed money back in the bank. We gotta be careful and accumulate money now. No more wasting money. Still got a couple of trucks I could sell that I'm only holding for sentimental reasons. But so, what's this? There's another task. Not that one. Let me just find it a sec. Yeah, this one. So this is a contract where we need to drag something out. And I think the other one we could have picked up and taken with us just now. I think we've just driven past one of these and gone to the exact place it's needed. So we've just wasted a bit of fuel. I think this thing next to us needs to be taken back. And can it go in the back of my truck? Is it a 2-slot? Or is it something you have to chain? Let's find out. I suspect it's something you have to drag. Because I'm sure, I don't know where, maybe it was in a comment, or maybe it was, because I don't think I've seen any footage of anybody doing this. I don't think I've seen that, but let's just have a look and see if this is something I could crane in the back. It's bigger than 2 slots, isn't it? You can see that. This isn't, so you can crane to it. I'm just going to line it up. It's bigger. It's bigger than my bed. So if you can load it, it's going to be at least a 3-slot cargo. I'll restore the crane. I'm a little bit low on fuel. What a muppet. I've got the cat on the map, so I need to just redistribute some fuel at some point. But I think, because it's on skid slut, I think the idea of this is you're meant to drag it. Which is one of the reasons I didn't want to bring... Oh, that's quite cool. One of the reasons I didn't want to bring both trucks is that one of them would have been on a tow rope, and I think you need a tow rope to do this. So this cabin, I think you just drag it. I'm a bit low on fuel. Now the cool bit, there's 3 different winch attachment points on the back of this Grad. Right, so we're in all-wheel drive. I'll whack it into low with a diff lock just to get through this bit, and then we're pulling something that's on skis basically. Oh, it's a champ, isn't it? I love it. It just feels like such a nice vehicle to drive. Get it back into auto. Because it's pulling this, no problem. Does mean that I won't get the Zix as I'm passing on this trip. So I'll have to do a special trip up into the hill to get the Zix recovery. Because I can only tow rope one thing at a time, and this... Actually, I'm taking this to the same place that I would probably depart to go to the Zix anyway, so... I had thought about going across this hill because the 6 isn't that far away. But I'm going to take this back the same route that I came in, basically around the ice lake. This thing is savage. Love it. I feel a lot more confident about this series. Yeah. Doesn't mean to say that I'm going to be reckless and get jackknifed though by a rogue trailer. Behave yourself. Right, make sure I know where I'm turning in real quick. It's going to be basically make my way down to here and then up north point. See my tracks from the way in now. That's handy. Don't need all-wheel drive, now I'm on flat. But I also don't want to go fast enough that this thing can jackknife me and tip me over. So yeah, if I'd have noticed it, I could have towed the other one of these up as I was coming past with the service parts. I literally drove probably within 20 meters of the other one. And then what I'm going to do once I've delivered this is jump into the Tatra Phoenix, and which has got a close to full fuel tank, and take that to get the other one of these. Feels like that would be a fun thing to do, and that should round out the episode quite nicely. Oh, I like it. That glitchy terrain is still there. This is so I didn't see it. I didn't notice it on the way to the delivery we just did. But there's 2 lines of terrain here, right through this camp, and the other one on the left there, that have just got that spiky terrain, and I was seeing that in the mud. Right, so there's number 1. Oh, maybe. Kind of expected that to auto complete as a towed thing. Maybe some people do that with a loading it into a 3 slot. It's not giving me a cargo option. What am I doing wrong? I'm sure that's the delivery point for it. Alright. Not going to worry about it for a minute. I'm going to get the other one here. Maybe they've both got to be here to register. It's definitely the right delivery point. Right, so I'm going to jump straight into the Phoenix. And have a drive of the Phoenix, because I've not driven this really much either. I just dragged it out on the expedition. I'll take the Tega with me. Tega's got nothing to do on this side of the map, so it is probably more fuel efficient to take it with me. And this is another one that's engageable, all-wheel drive and diff. There you go, spiky terrain, like right outside the gate of the garage. Spiky terrain, look at that. So something is definitely not right. It's just a case of whether this is a glitch that's occurred in the game as a result of Phase 7 release, or whether there's a problem with my install. Tega can keep its engine off for a minute. And I will run this in all-wheel drive. Get this Tega back to the fuel carrier trailer, because it's got no other duties really now. See what I mean about, I don't know how well it's coming across on YouTube, but this engine is a bit more sort of raspy, a bit less subtle than the Grad engine. The Grad engine just purrs like a kitten, whereas this I can't think of a metaphor that matches purrs like a kitten for what this is doing. That sounds like a couple of bricks in a cement mixer. There's plenty of room on there to fit a crane if they'd have wanted to. So, you know, physically a crane would fit. And it's an interesting truck because it's all-wheel steer. It's all 4 axles steer. From what I can make out, anyway. Looks pretty cool. Try and slow down carefully so the Tega doesn't run me right in the backside. Careful. Just want to check on the map that I know where I'm going. So it's not quite the same route. I'll bring them both. So basically across here. And then I'll leave the Tega there. And at some other point, either off cam or whatever, it can go and reunite with its fuel carrier. I'm really happy. I think this has made me feel a lot more confident. These 2 trucks. Because Imandra, especially, is a very challenging map. And I think with the trucks that I've currently got deployed, I've deployed some gimmick trucks, right? So the Action is a good bit of fun. The Lodestar was disappointing for this map just because it seems so thirsty. And the Yar, it's alright as a scout, but it's not, didn't set me on fire. I've got to put the mud tyres on it like people have told me in comments. So the Yar is still my main scout, but the Action's a bit of a gimmick. The Tega's really only going to be doing fuel carrier low saddle stuff for a bit. And I'm just not, the 7210 on its own is probably going to struggle with this harshness of the terrain. Whereas these 2, Voron Grad plus Phoenix, plus Tega power, I feel like I've got myself pretty well set up for success. He says, and then he'll run right into an ice trap. At the moment, I'm trying to race my Tega so it doesn't ram me up. Ooh, 18 points of suspension damage. Right, on principle, I'm not parking a Tega on the snow because that's how trucks get drowned. Even though I know that's not going to thaw here. But I'll bring it into the solid-ish edges of the camp. And then leave it there. His engine's not running. And then I'll hook onto this. Oh, okay. So I've only just noticed that on that task, let's have a real quick look. Contract rather. Cabin fever. in the top corner it says container from the south camp. So either they've got to be done in sequence or it won't complete until they're both there. That's probably all that is. And then again, reminder, I'm coming across here and in there. Maybe I can do that. That snow looks safe. Yeah, nearly drove right over that then. Steady. This is the crossing point, which is what I thought I was doing in Amandra with a fuel carrier. I thought I was driving over something like this, and then it went and collapsed under me. Just get rid of that waypoint. Because I didn't like the look of it. This is pretty planted. I know I'm not doing difficult stuff on it. I haven't taken this Phoenix off road yet, but it feels pretty solid on this ice. That's my tyre tracks. Ooh, that's my tyre tracks from when I came through here just now. That's my tracks from when I turned around for a screenshot with the Northern Lights. Slowed down a bit there. I'm going to see how it does in high. Right, so it had the power to go a bit faster, it just didn't, it chose not to shift up the gear. Fairly good turning circle if you're careful with it, with an all-wheel steer. I don't really know how its fuel consumption characteristics are going to be, but we can have a look at it in a minute when we get there, because we started with a pretty much full tank from the garage. I didn't use the diff lock at all coming through that. It's just in high ratio with all-wheel drive on. So it's going to complete when they're both here. There we go, completed. That explains that. Awesome. Would be a lot easier to deal with the rest of it. Glad we can rely on you. Glad you feel you can rely on me. So I'm going to hook this up because this one can attach to trailers. If I drive it in a straight line. And then engine off. Do some repairs on both vehicles because these are just pre-repair points. Done. Still got 1100 in it. Don't know that I need them anywhere else, but I'll leave it here for now. All right, so let's do this because I want to do this on cam. I want to explore this route because we've spoke about it a couple of times. Is this a candidate route for logging? So I'm going to jump into the cat and I'm going to take the cat over to join the fuel carrier, fill the cat up, and then off cam I'll bring the cat back. But while I'm exploring this route, I'd like to do that on cam because it's the third route as a candidate for logging and I've not explored it yet, and I'd like to do that exploration on cam basically. Because I've got fuel in my tank, but the add-on is empty on this, and I need to get some fuel out of that semi-trailer. Bully my way through these little trees and try not to get stuck in the water. And then I'm into what looks like, so let's just do this. Something like that. And I want to see, I just want to see if that's a route that I could do in some kind of large truck with long logs on it. Because I don't really like the village route. What truck do I use for long logs? Do I bring the Dan? The Dan was good for logging, wasn't it? This isn't great terrain to go logging over though, is it? It's quite bumpy stuff. And then I think I tried previously, I basically went straight on through this darker path, but there's some really bumpy bits there that I felt certainly like the Azov, if it was logging, would have struggled with quite badly. But this so far looks alright. Once you get past that first bit's a bit bumpy. There's my trailer. Yeah, I think that's my preferred route for logging of the three that I've tried. More terrain glitch, look. That line of spiky snow. And on the other side of the road. It's some kind of seam in the map, isn't it? Because it's a long straight line right there. Engine off, fuel. So fill me up. And I think fill my carrier up. That still leaves 1400 litres in this big carrier. But I think it's more useful in that. So that same route, I like that route, I think. And I think I want to bring this cat out now and put it somewhere centrally, maybe here. Somewhere that it can be accessed from anybody doing content around that side of the map. So yeah, but I can do that off cam, right? Because you've seen me drive it in. So I'll do that before the next episode, get that repositioned, and then maybe even take it over here. So we can do the couple of things in that corner, including fuel for these two. But I'll worry about that for next episode. So got quite a bit done there. The special episode set us up to have 2 new trucks. And then in this episode, we've used those two trucks to complete the supply delivery task and the cabin fever contract. And just as importantly, we've had to play with some new trucks, which is always fun. So I feel good about that episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I will get myself ready for what I'm going to do in the next one. I hope to see you in that next episode. But in the meantime, thank you very much and goodbye.